Building block. A new ordinance puts limits on new construction in the Pleasant View neighborhood. What this means to the MTC tower plans.
Mitt visit. His quick trip to Salt Lake probably didn't get him any new voters, but did get his campaign some quick cash.
And fish frenzy. It's time for old fish to make new ones, and that's turning these salmon bright red. I'm Jen Jacobson.
And I'm Ashley Munguia. It's Wednesday, September 19th, and in Utah, it's 12 o'clock.
From KBYU and the BYU Department of Communications. This is the award-winning 11 News at noon.
The back and forth is over. The Provo City Council has made their decision when it comes to tall construction projects in the Pleasant View neighborhood. 11 News reporter Ashley Hudson went to the meeting. So, Ashley, tell me about the new changes.
You know, the Missionary Training Center is going to go through with building the tower, even though it does block some of the view. Other construction over 70 feet is not allowed, and homeowners, well, they have mixed concerns.
An ordinance passed last night will temporarily prohibit any new plans for construction near the MTC and surrounding neighborhoods, but doesn't affect the LDS's church's plan for a new building. Pleasant View homeowners are torn about the MTC's plans.
It just shows that the work of the Lord is moving forward.
Somebody is trying to build a dynasty or something. I don't know what it is, but it just is totally unreasonable to build that building.
Church officials say both of the Quorum of the 12 and the First Presidency invite everyone to support the construction. The Harrises have lived in the area for decades and are hopeful they can preserve their view of the temple and mountains.
It's not going to change, affect our testimony of the church. Has nothing to do with that. But we will fight it to the death.
Concerned homeowners express their frustration with the church getting its variance in the community.
This isn't an ecclesiastical issue at all. It's a land use issue.
I think I can speak for myself and my neighbors that I am not comfortable with the church dictating the language of this ordinance.
City officials are prohibiting all other future construction projects more than 5 stories high for 6 months, except for the MTC building. The Harrises and other like-minded Pleasant View homeowners say they'll continue to fight for their rights.
Original MTC building plans for a 170-foot tall building. The church reduced that level to a 138-foot level, which will be the final height of the building.
So, Ashley, does that new ordinance only apply in Pleasant View?
You know, for the most part it does, but there is a 1,000-foot perimeter where more homes may be included.
Thanks, Ashley.
And the City Council also had a special visitor last night who brought something new to the meeting. Rajan Zed opened the night with a Hindu prayer, the first non-Christian prayer ever given in a Utah City Council meeting. Zed came to Utah to address a BYU World Religion class and gave 2 prayers, the other one opening the Utah County Commission meeting.
Unless you have a cool $2 billion laying around, you can forget about owning Vivint. A private equity firm is buying a majority share in the Utah County-based security company. The going rate, $2 billion, not million, billion. The firm buying the majority represents Goldman Sachs, Peterson Partners, and Jupiter Partners. You may better recognize Vivint by its former name, Apex Security.
Utah County hasn't had commuter rail in decades, but that's about to change. 11 News reporter Eliza Wilson went to see how UTA is progressing in bringing Front Runner to Provo.
These tracks may be empty right now, but in only a few months, the Front Runner train will go full speed ahead. These trains can carry 6,800 people, but not without some side effects.
When we started planning for this project, we conducted some very in-depth environmental studies. And basically you look at how is it going to affect traffic, how will it affect noise, pollution.
Carpenter says mass transit helps eliminate traffic, which could benefit Ashley Williams. She goes to Utah Valley University and makes the interstate trip every day.
Driving to school, it can be a nightmare. Parking is really horrible, and it just takes me longer than is needed. So if I was able to take Front Runner, it would eliminate the 40 minutes of driving around.
Traffic could potentially improve on the interstate by people traveling on Front Runner. But what about safety and the noise from the train?
It's called a quiet zone. It's customary for trains to sound their horn when they're coming to an intersection. But from the tracks that range from Provo to Salt Lake City, that won't be the case.
Flashing lights, Gates and raised cement medians are working at front-runner intersections. Federal law mandates them for safety. When Ashley Williams returns to school in January, she and thousands of others will have the choice to drive or to take the train. In American Fork, Eliza Wilson, 11 News.
Carpenter says FrontRunner also has free Wi-Fi on their trains, and as a part of their grand opening, they plan to offer some free rides prior to their startup.
While UTA construction goes on here in Utah County, our northern neighbors in Draper are also planning for FrontRunner's arrival. The City Council voted to develop the area near what will be their first new station. The area would include an eBay building, business parks, new houses, and hiking trails. The council will pay for development through property taxes on schools, homes, and business offices. After 2 years of debate, Salt Lake City is getting a little more bubbly. The City Council voted last night to allow neighborhood pubs. Businesses want to serve alcohol in residential areas. They have to be small, about 2,000 square feet. There won't be any clusters of these pubs either. One pub must be less than 600 feet from another one. When 11 News at noon returns. Fundraising flight. The race to the White House will swung through Utah, and supporters are a little lighter in the wallet.
And Fit Food. What sets these meals apart from all others on BYU campus? Their secret when we return. Stay with us. Mitt Romney made his way to Utah one last time before the big election in November. 11 News reporter Alexis Flake shows us what he came for and what he left with.
Utahns have put out nearly $5 million for Mitt Romney since his presidential bid announcement last June. And with a $2 million boost from Utah donors yesterday, the Romney campaign is taking it to the bank. The Salt Lake Airport's special guests drew a crowd of media and even some Boy Scouts to the runway yesterday.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You don't get every day to meet someone so important, so high status right now, so it was really cool. And maybe if he becomes the president, then I can say that I got to shake the president's hand.
It's no secret that Utah is a cash cow for the Romney campaign. His only stop was at the Grand America Hotel for a $25,000 per person roundtable discussion and a $1,000 per plate luncheon.
To have Mitt Romney in town with less than 50 days to go, that fires up a lot of people. He's got a huge support here in Utah, and I think he's got the winning message. I think we were looking at the next president of the United States.
And even though the event ended up with a few hundred extra people, most donors say they didn't mind.
They sold out. They probably sold an extra couple of hundred tickets. They didn't have enough meals for anybody, for everyone, and no one was sad about that. Everybody was just happy to be there. So.
Romney reportedly brought in around $2 million and spoke for more than 30 minutes, pumping up the crowd.
He got what he wanted, and by virtue of what he put in place, we have seen the results over these past 4 years. Those results are not very encouraging.
Combined with Paul Ryan's fundraising stop in Provo 2 weeks ago, Utahns have now donated nearly $8 million to the Romney-Ryan ticket. Ashley?
Support for the Romney campaign could be at risk with a new undercover video of the GOP candidate. The video shows Romney at a private fundraiser back in May, saying that 47% of Americans who depend on the government believe they are victims, and those are the people who will vote for Barack Obama. Romney says he hopes to get the voters of the other half of America. President Obama went on the David Letterman show last night and criticized his opponent for dividing the nation.
One of the things I've learned as president is you represent the entire country.
The Obama campaign says they will continue to push the video, and Romney says he will focus his campaign on becoming America's next president. This video could affect Romney's numbers in the polls.
An ancient papyrus fragment is suggesting Jesus had a wife. The fragment is written in a language used by early Egyptian Christians and has a phrase from Jesus referring to his wife. Experts examined it and say it is authentic, but doesn't necessarily prove that he was married or not. They say the piece comes from the 2nd century and is too long after the crucifixion to count as proof. A campus eatery offers both exquisite cuisine and a unique learning opportunity. 11 News reporter Andrew Clay gives an inside look at a campus lunch cafe run by science majors.
Running a full-fledged restaurant is a very involved process, and that's exactly what students in the BYU Dietetics program do every day. It's right here in the Eyring Science Center's Pendulum Court Cafe. Students get a real-world restaurant experience and learn valuable skills. Professor Julie Duncan teaches the food management course and says it prepares her students for careers in nutrition.
I would say we're training dietitians to become managers, and this gives them an opportunity right here to hands-on manage. If we were to send them out to a different facility, they may be observing management, but to be able to do that on campus, they can actually manage. This is a good opportunity.
Students running the kitchen learn everything from food inventory to meal preparation, and of course, cooking delicious meals. Graduates of the program often come back as interns to train and supervise students in the kitchen.
It's really fun, probably my favorite course in the dietetics program. It's hard because you're working, you're on your feet all day, but you learn so much, really rewarding, and best part is you get great food.
The Pendulum Court Cafe just opened for the semester and serves lunch until mid-November. In Provo, Andrew Clay, 11 News.
The cafe is open Monday through Thursday from 11:30 to 1:30. Reservations are required. To find out how to reserve a spot, click on Andrew's story on our website at 11news.byu.edu.
When 11 News at noon returns, we'll have a look at weather for the week.
And salmon swimming, why the fish gathering at Strawberry Reservoir will mean more fish in the near future. 11 weather and outdoor news when we return.
Guys, it's looking pretty hazy out there today, and it could be because of those fires up in Idaho. It's currently a cool 65 degrees here in Provo with humidity there at 36%. We've got a pretty calm wind speed at 6 miles per hour in the south-southeast direction. And taking a look at throughout the day, it'll be pretty hazy, but hopefully we'll see those clear skies towards the end of the day. We've got a low there of 49 degrees, so it'll cool down a bit. And we've got that sunset at 7:25 p.m. So it'll be a great night. Maybe you can take a stroll with your family. Let's look at the highs for today. We've got Logan up there at 65 for their high. Down at Salt Lake, we've got 80 for the high. Provo 67. Looking down at St. George, 93. Pretty hot for them. Let's take a look at that 5-day forecast for the southern part of our state. Sun Wednesday through Saturday, but unfortunately a little thunderstorm that will be popping up there during the weekend. So Saturday, Sunday, not too good. But let's take a look at the northern part of our state. We've got that same kind of pattern going on. Sun all the way through Saturday, but then Sunday there, we've got that cloud coverage. So unfortunately, the highs will be in the 80s and the lows in the 40s. And that's your look at weather. Jen?
The leaves aren't the only thing changing color this time of year. The salmon in the Strawberry River are too. 11 News reporter Christine Wallach tells us why.
If you come across a bright red salmon in the Strawberry River, it can only mean one thing. It's time to spawn.
The females will select for the males that have the brightest colors and the biggest humps on the back and things like that. So there is some selection there.
Strawberry Reservoir has a high population of Kokoni salmon, even though they are rare in the state of Utah.
There's a lot of cool things in nature, but the fact that these fish are able to just sense their way to come back, that they are really giving their lives for this, that this is life or death for them.
Other species survive after spawning, but for kokanee salmon, it's one and done.
And so when they come up into these streams to spawn, they basically they're saying, you know, the future is dependent on all these kids. I mean, on all those eggs that they're laying.
They're just such cool looking fish that you got to come check it out.
The trap facility behind the visitor center helps Mother Nature along by fertilizing kokanee eggs. They then go to the hatchery and eventually return to the Strawberry River the following spring. At Strawberry Reservoir, Christine Wallach, 11 News.
If you would like to see the kokanee while they're red, the Visitor Center and Trap Facility are hosting their annual Kokanee Viewing Day this Saturday. To find out how you can attend, click on Christine's story on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
So Jen, we had some pretty bad news for the BYU basketball team.
I know, it's so hard to watch talented athletes on the bench. Ben, how's the basketball team doing?
Not too good. So with one of the players is no longer on the team, even though it's just the off season. Next on sports, it's 50 days until basketball season, but it's a career conclusion for Chris Collinsworth. Find out what it is that put this BYU basketball player on ice. And sleepless in Seattle. It was a late night in Seattle as the Mariners and Orioles went 18 innings and into the morning. Sports is next. Stay tuned. Basketball season is getting closer, and the Cougars find themselves with an empty spot on their depth chart. Forward Chris Collinsworth's career is over, as 11 Sports reporter Clark Gerber tells us that the injuries just piled up too high.
When people talk about the breaks of the game, they're usually not talking about body parts. BYU forward Chris Collinsworth knows all about those kinds of breaks. He faces microfracture ankle surgery this week, his third surgery in as many years. With his injuries so major and so frequent, Collinsworth made a tough decision. He's retiring from NCAA basketball.
Basketball players at every level know how dangerous this sport can be. Most players have experienced a sprained ankle, or 20, and are familiar with the wear and tear the game can have on your body. For some, injuries seem to come easier than for others, but once you reach a certain point, it's difficult to come back, no matter how young you are.
With his latest injury, Collinsworth decided he is past the point of no return. Pain during summer workouts led to an MRI which revealed underlying fractures in his left ankle. Microfracture surgery is considered minimally invasive, but Collinsworth won't recover until after this season. The forward released a statement saying, "It's been really hard physically and mentally, and it's time to move on." On the BYU campus, Clark Gerber, 11 News.
Collinsworth also missed most of the last 2 seasons with knee problems. He played in only 11 games after returning from his LDS mission to Australia. Former Olympic wrestler Rulon Gardner has filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The Utah resident won gold in Sydney at the 2000 Games by defeating previously unbeaten Alexander Karelin. Gardner owes creditors nearly $3 million. An online auction of Gardner's belongings, including cars and watches, will be held October 27th. The Angels are streaking at the right time as the playoffs loom, seeking their 15th win in the past 20 games as they face the Rangers. Ian Kinsler hit a 2-run home run for Texas in the third to take a 3-1 lead, but Angels Cy Young candidate Jared Weaver shut down the Rangers offense for the rest of the night. It was a different story for the Angels as they had an 8-run 4th inning, capped by Alberto Callaspo's RBI double. Weaver earned his 100th career win and now has an AL leading 18-4 record as the Angels cruise to an 11-3 win. It was a marathon night in Seattle as the Mariners and Orioles played 18 innings of baseball. In typical Mariner fashion, runs were hard to come by in the contest. Miguel Oliva homered in the 4th inning to give Seattle a 2-0 lead, and starting pitcher Erasmus Ramirez took that lead into the 9th. But with 1 out, Baltimore Orioles' Chris Davis singled, bringing home 2 base runners and knotting up the game. The tie remained into extra innings until the 18th, when pinch hitter Taylor T. Gardner hit down the right field line to score Nate McLeod from third. The O's went on to win 4-2 as Baltimore continues its playoff push. Well, guys, that game went all the way until almost 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, a little too late for me. I don't watch sports that late.
Yeah, good thing there's TiVo out there.
Definitely.
I'd definitely watch the next morning instead.
Thanks, Ben. Still to come on 11 News at noon. Wolf work. If you want your dog to be able to run free, this Utah County Eagle Scout is on the same wavelength. We'll tell you about his plans when we return. With this Democratic opponent, Scott Howell. It'll be Wednesday, October 17th at 10 a.m. on BYU campus. The debate will stream live on the internet, and it'll be airing in full that night here on Channel 11 at 9 p.m.
Utah County dogs will get to go free range if a Lehigh Boy Scout gets his way. 14-year-old Parker Wimmer is working on his Eagle Scout Award and has chosen quite the project, building Utah County's first dog park. Wimmer is working with the county to turn Willow Park in Lehigh into a one dog's dream of. Before construction begins, Wimmer is raising $3,000 to pay for fencing, grass, and signs.
What an interesting scout project. I wouldn't have thought that a dog park would come out of an Eagle Scout project.
I know.
Care of man's best friends.
Love it.
Yeah, his mom must be really proud of him.
Definitely. Well, that's 11 News at noon for Wednesday, September 19th.
You can join us anytime on our website at 11news.byu.edu.
Thanks for watching and have a great day.